Turns out some of these heroes are trash. But that's okay, because not every single hero in this game is going to be a banger, right? But here's what we want to do today. We're going to talk about a couple of epic heroes that really aren't very good. I remember when I pulled my first couple of epic heroes, and it turns out they were not some of the better ones in the game. So what we want to avoid today is heavily investing in heroes that will not be worth your time later. Let's get right into it. Hey, I'm B-Hub, everybody. We're going to hop right into this. Before we do, I just wanted to remind you, I did start streaming on Twitch here recently, and if you want the link to that, it's in the description below. Hop over to my Twitch page, give me a follow, and come hang out with us in the stream. Ask anything that you like, and I'll help you out to the best of my ability. Now, onward to our video. This is our first one, Titus. He is just bad. This is a bad hero. This is Knight Reverend. He's a spirit hero. His stat line is pretty mediocre, and his kit is even worse, honestly. Right here, Soul Reaper attacks one enemy, 85% chance of placing 100% heal reduction. We like heal reduction, but if the target has a continuous heal buff. So I only get heal reduction if I get the continuous, if they have a continuous heal buff on them. Well, that's not very good, because where we want this heal reduction is usually on boss fights. We want it on Fire Knight Castle, we want it on Spirit Keep, we want it on stuff like that. And guess what they don't have? Continuous heal buffs. I mean, this is just not a good skill. Now, up to the next one is Spikes. Places a 50% increased attack buff on this champ for 2 turns, then attacks 4 times at random, and guess what? It'll be critical if they have that continuous heal buff again. So I don't know what kind of continuous heal teams people are fighting against, but this just isn't super relevant. Like, this isn't even good in arena. Like, even if you come across a bad Khazar and you want to stick it to him, there are better ways to beat that team than with this guy. And 4 times at random is not a good attack, honestly. Now, the other one right here attacks all enemies 2 times. Damage increases according to the amount of HP that Titus has lost. This is a secret skill and only becomes available when this champ has lost 50% of their HP. Now, this just isn't very good either, because guess what? If he's getting down below 50%, this hero is probably dead. His kit is just not very good. You're not going to use this because we use speed in arena most of the time. Like this aura, none of this kit is very good. There are significantly better heroes than this. Don't invest in this guy. Now we got another spirit hero, but this one's a sacred order. His name is Bushi. And here's what he does. He attacks one enemy. Damage inflicted increases each time the skill is used. Stacks up to 4 entire times. Alright, Deadly Edge. Sounds pretty deadly, right? Attacks one enemy. This attack is always critical. Every single time this attack is critical. And he can revive himself with 30% HP and an unkillable buff for 1 turn on a 8 to 6 turn cooldown, right? But this just isn't very good. If you've seen my last video that I did, it was on single target attackers. And what you will see on there is single target attackers that are a lot better than Bushi is. You'll see Knight Errant in work, and you'll see Gala Longbraids at work, and you'll like, even though this is always critical, it really doesn't matter all that much. I mean, you're attacking one hero at a time, and his stat line is pretty mediocre. This defense is terribly low. His HP is pretty mediocre. Even though he's got a good bit of attack, I mean, he's going down, and he's not going to do much before he does. So I would not invest in this guy. Alright, let's go with a hero that I have pulled like 4 or 5 of at this point in this game. Excruciator. This is one of the very first heroes that came out when they came out with the Veil and Perfect Veil buff, and she does it terribly. So we have Flicker Strike. Attacks one enemy. Damage increases by 20% when attacking under a Veil buff. Neck Snapper attacks one enemy. Damage increases by 35% when attacking under a Veil buff. Alright, more damage increase. And this right here, Invisible Predator, places a Veil buff on this champ for 1 turn at the beginning of each round, and places a Veil buff on this champ for 1 turn each time they kill an enemy. Now, she does have a really high attack, her defense is low, and her HP is terribly low, so this character is going to die. Now, one thing you'll know about Veil buffs is that you can still be hit with AoE attacks while you're under a Veil buff. And guess what this character is going to do? She's going to get hit by AoE attacks while she's under Veil buffs. Not only that, she is also a single target attacker hero. And again, I will refer you back to the last video that I did. They're really just not as good as you want them to be. You can have a lot better stuff. This hero, not good. Alright, up next is going to be Galcut. Even though he looks like he's wearing the bones of his enemies, I highly doubt it. My guess is that he borrowed it from a friend, because he doesn't really do all that much. He has Mangled Limbs, attacks one enemy 2 times, each hit, or nope, not even each hit, has a 50% chance of placing the 30% decreased defense, but it's the lesser version of this decreased defense. This is not the worst, but not great. Brutal Battering is his A2, attacks all enemies one by one in a random order, and damage inflicted decreases by 25% after each hit. I just don't see the point in this move. I really don't. One, it's in random order, so you can't even really pick who you're going after. So it's just gonna, this just isn't good. You want something that you have a much better control over if you're gonna try and get rid of enemy heroes. Now the next one is going to be Barrage, and it attacks all enemies. It has a 75% chance of placing a bomb that detonates after 3 turns. Well, that's not the worst, but the bomb detonation is a 3-turn detonation, and that's a pretty long clock for a bomb, for the bomb to go off. So overall, this hero is just not very good. He just doesn't do enough. You definitely have a ton of heroes who are better epics in the game than this guy. Now also his stat line is really bad. He's got a low speed, he's got low HP, his attack is a little bit higher, but even for an attack hero it's not great. And then his defense is okay, but this HP is terribly low. So just a bad stat line, a bad kit, and a bad hero. Alright, let's talk about Grim Skin, the guy who looks like he's covered in oil, maybe? I don't know what this dude's covered in, but whatever. He got caught slipping. He's not very good. Terry Fist attacks one enemy, has a 25% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. Like, this attack is like, oh, decreased speed's alright, but it's on one enemy at a time. This just isn't very good. There's not a lot you can maximize with that. Frustrating Muck. What a beautiful attack name. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing the Provoke. Provoke is good, but it's only on one enemy, and even the chance is a little bit lower. So there's definitely heroes that can do better than this. There are a couple heroes in the game that have AoE Provoke abilities. Those are the ones that you want, not this. Now the other one is Ichor Fling. Again, these are just beautiful names for moves here. Attacks all enemies and has an 80% chance of removing a random buff from each target. You can get this up to a 100% chance on a 4-turn cooldown. The only thing is, there are heroes who just do this way better. This right here, removing one buff from each target, it just doesn't come up all that much. And when it does, there are heroes who can do it significantly better, who also have better abilities on the rest of their kit. He just is not really worth your time. Alright, up next is Taurus, not to be confused with the Pokemon Taurus, who is probably significantly better than this guy. Here's what he does. Metabolize. Attack one enemy, heals by 20% of the damage inflicted if the target has a poison debuff. You'll see why that's relevant here in a second. Attacks one enemy, 50% chance of placing the 25% weaken for 2 turns. Now Toxic Nova, this is his weird ability. This champion receives damage equal to 99% of their current HP, places an unkillable buff on this champ for 2 turns, and has an 80% chance to place 3 5% poison debuffs on all enemies for 2 turns. So this is a super weird ability, and honestly it's just not very good. Now, 3 poison debuffs is okay, but it still isn't absolutely like amazing. Like, this isn't a game changer, and you're gonna take 99% damage to do this. Now you get the unkillable buff. My favorite part is you only actually get the unkillable buff if he has 3 stars of ascension. If not, you just take 99% damage and you don't get it, and it's hilarious. But this unkillable buff, it's only going to really last 1 turn. At the end of your turn, it's going to tick down, and you're going to have 1 turn of unkillable. That's going to give you an opportunity to heal up, but probably not. And this can be taken from you. You can get this removed. This can be stolen. This can be just gotten rid of, and so that's not good. And also right here, this move that's meant to help you heal doesn't really heal all that great. Taurus, his attack stat is okay, but not like super high end, and 20% of the damage that he inflicts is not going to be very much. This is a single target attack. That heal is not going to be very good. So this is just, I know it sounds cool, but this just is not a good hero. You would be way better off just having a decent AoE attacker who could do a whole bunch of other stuff that does not have to sacrifice themselves to put up 3 poisons. It's not good. Alright, Ripper, Force Hero, Skinwalker, not good. Here's what he does. Scarred for life. I'm scarred for life by pulling this hero. Attacks one enemy, decreases their max HP by 10% of the damage inflicted. Alright. No quarter. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Damage increases as the target's HP decreases. A little bit of extra boost there to your damage. Heavy Slam. Some WWE moves coming up. Attacks one enemy. Will ignore 50% of the target's defense and decreases their max HP by 30% of the damage inflicted. So this hero right here, his attack stat is not super high. Again, this is okay, but you're looking for maybe a little bit higher in a purely attack hero. Now here's the other thing. Again, he is a single target attacker. He doesn't have anything to really help him in the way of crit rate or crit damage or anything like that, so you're still going to have to gear him like that. He ignores 50% of the defense on his big move, but you will do so much better with some of the other single target attackers if that's what you choose to use. Like Gala Longbraids is way better than this guy, and then the rest of his kit just is not very good. There's nothing super impressive happening here. It's just a couple of single target attacks. Maybe you get a little bit of decreased max HP, but honestly that doesn't really come up very often as being very relevant. So yeah, Ripper, no go. Here's one of the very first epics I ever pulled in this game, Woad Painted. And I always feel like there should be like another word there, like Woad painted something, or like what? Woad painted is just, I feel like you stop short. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But in case you were wondering, a woad, according to the dictionary, is a yellow flower European plant of the cabbage family, formerly grown as a source of blue dye, which I assume accounts for this blue color scheme that she kind of has going on right here. But she is not very good. Cross up. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Opportunity of placing block cooldown skills for 1 turn. Alright. Undying Fury. Maybe on a 4-turn cooldown. Removes all debuffs from this champion. Then heals this champion by 30% HP. Places a 30% reflect buff on this champion for 2 turns. Her last skill is Overpower. Attacks one enemy. 75% chance of the block cooldown skills. Debuff for 2 turns. Damage inflicted is proportional to this champion's current HP. So again, this champion is one of the ones she's a single target attacker. The thing I don't like about her, just kind of off the bat, is that her A1 and her A3 both have the same opportunity of landing the same cooldown. I would like maybe a little bit more diversity in this hero. That might be nice. Now again, I don't think she actually does all that much damage. This one is based off of attack and also HP, and this one's also attack and HP. Her attack is pretty low. Her HP is pretty decent, but that doesn't combine for a lot of damage. Now the other thing that you have with her is the Undying Fury, and the issue with this is that it only works for her. It only removes her debuffs, it only heals her, and it only puts a reflect damage on her. There are just better champions out there who can place these kind of things on everybody. Reliquary Tender would be one of them, right? Can remove all debuffs from all champions, give everybody a continuous heal buff. Just better, right? Just better. And that's a rare hero. Just better. So you can do better. Welcome to my very first epic I ever pulled in this game. It is Delvar, and she was not a very good first epic, but she did serve a purpose for a time being. Here's what she does. Neurotic Toxin. Attacks one enemy, 45% chance of placing the 100% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns. Next one, Mark for Death. Attacks one enemy, places the weaken debuff for 3 turns if the target has a heal reduction debuff, and this debuff cannot be resisted. Attack number 3, attacks all enemies, places a 50% increase attack on her before she attacks, which is good. If the target has a weakened debuff, it places a 60% decreased defense debuff on the target for 2 turns. Now here is the obvious first flaw in Delvar's kit, is that when you run this character on auto, she's going to go in the reverse order to help out these debuffs. It goes heal reduction, which lands you a weaken, which lands you a decreased defense, and she's going to start in the flip order, and her kit is not really going to play off of itself. It's rare that you're going to use your A1 as your first skill, and then go into your A2, and then go into your A3, and the first 2 are only on single targets. Then the A3 has to go into, and it attacks everybody, but not everyone's going to have this stuff if you're just using Delvar. She's not a very good standalone hero. Her only saving grace is that she does have the heal reduction debuff, which can be helpful in certain dungeons, although this isn't really one that you want to bring to Fire Knight Castle because she does have 1 hit on every single ability, and that's not very great. but you can maybe use her in the Spirit Keep. But other than that, I don't think that this hero has a purpose, like, really anywhere else. There's just way better heroes all over the place. Up last is Vergus. This is what this guy does right here. Pierce. Attacks one enemy, 40% chance with a 30% reflect buff on one random ally. His number 2 is Aegis, and it places 15% continuous heal, 15 increased speed, 30% reflect damage, 50% ally protection, all on one single target. Now his last thing is a passive, and it does a continuous heal buff on him every time his HP drops below 50%. Now here's my thing with this guy. It's just that he's not very good. This right here attacks one enemy. There's maybe a 50% chance, and I wouldn't book this hero, so there's probably going to be a 40% chance of me landing this reflect. The only thing is, there's some heroes in the game who can place reflect on your entire team, and it's guaranteed, right? Like this, to have just an opportunity to do this just doesn't seem very great for me. Now this ability, my issue with this is that it only gets placed on one ally. It doesn't get placed on everybody, and there's a lot of heroes in the game who can spread out their buffs. They can spread the wealth to the entire team instead of just focusing on one person. This is not going to really save you all that much. Just even on that one hero, it's not going to save them very much. It's not that great. And then this continuous heal buff, yeah, you might get it and whatever, but you probably just going to get nuked down anyways. I'm not a huge fan of this hero. I just don't think that he does enough. I think there are heroes in the game who do his job significantly better than he does. And that's our last hero. So, with that being said, this was not like an exhaustive list, or this was not a like a top 10 list or anything like that. This video was just heroes that are bad. Don't invest a ton of resources into them. That's it. So if you have other heroes that you think that should be on this list, or if you want to make a case for one of these heroes as to why they are really good or something, let me know. I'm always open to hearing new opinions, and you can go ahead and you can change my opinion down there if you can do it. Now, the last thing right here is, if you enjoyed this video and if you got something out of it, hit like and hit subscribe. Don't forget, you can go follow me on Twitch so that we can talk about this stuff in real time on the stream, and you can ask me questions right there in real time. Also, that would be so much fun. Come do that. Now, the last thing is, if you're feeling super generous, you can donate down below as well. And if you want to know what gear I use, the Amazon affiliate links are below. Ha! Mouthful. But we're done. So with that being said, take it easy, and until next time, peace out.